Welcome back. It's a new week, which means a new build vlog. Now that we've got all that gross painting and gearing stuff done, it's time to get into the fun stuff. We took a little road trip up to Summit Racing yesterday to pick up the next batch of parts for this thing. So we got all our exhaust tubing here, a bunch of stuff here, a couple goodies from Vibrant, Borla muffler, a couple V-bands down there. Picked up about every brake line we need to do 2 of these trucks. Picked up some goodies from PSC, our pump, super cool little black reservoir. Couple other little goodies down there, got the cooler hiding. So this is what's on the roster for this week. Lots of buttoning up today. We got the fuel tank back in this thing, and I got the whole front end put together. Axle shafts are in, wheel bearings are on, brakes are on, steering's on, everything's tight. I may have forgotten to order locking hubs, but we're gonna keep that a secret for now. So it was a good day. Tomorrow's gonna be even better. We're gonna be getting the brake system all installed. So we're gonna be building an adapter to adapt a Dodge Master cylinder to the Tundra booster that we're gonna mount in this thing. I've already got all the brake lines, so we just gotta hook everything up. A couple little tabs to weld on the back to hold some bulkheads, but nothing too crazy. After that, we're gonna be mounting the power steering pump on this thing. I'll show you guys how to take a TC pump from PSC, Trail Gear, whoever makes them, and bolt them to the stock bracket on this truck, along with using the stock pulley. Super easy upgrade, super good upgrade. Once that's all done, we're gonna tack up our stainless steel exhaust system. We're gonna build about half of it tomorrow, and my buddy Shane will be coming by in the evening to weld it for me because he is a far better TIG welder than I am, and that way it'll just buy me a little bit of time so I can keep cranking on this thing. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Got some Warren hubs to put in today. It's the last thing this axle needs before it is fully complete. So we're gonna put these on, and then we're gonna build a stainless steel exhaust. I bought a bunch of polished stainless so that that thing's nice and shiny under there. And like I told you yesterday, Shane's gonna be welding that up for me. So probably gonna come out looking kind of good. Stay tuned. Exhaust time. So what we did was we just reused the factory flanges, cleaned them all up, polished them up, took all the dirt off of them, and now we're going to piece together that stainless system, so let's do it. As expected, Shane killed it on this thing. It allowed me to spend a little bit of time doing some other stuff. Now this thing's cooled off, we're going to put the O2 sensor in it and stick it in the truck. So that came out great. Exhaust is done to the halfway point. Back in the car, all bolted up. V-band tight. O2s are back in it. This thing looks great. So we got the hood popped on the Tacoma so we can get going on the next bit of stuff. First thing we're taking care of today is the power steering system. We got to mount the reservoir, get the pump modified to fit on the stock mount in this vehicle, put the pulley on it, and then we're going to be hanging the cooler. Next thing we're going to do after that is take a trip up to the hydraulic store, get a couple lines made, and stick it together. But the first thing I have to handle before we do anything else is this broken bolt. You see right here, one of the bolts that holds in the reservoir mount snapped off when I went to pull it apart. So before we get that in, we need to pop that out. So I think we're going to try and drill it. Let's see what happens. Sweet, broken bolt out. Let's see if the new one fits in. Money, let's get to work. So now we're prepping the power steering pump to bolt into this thing. It's really simple to get these things going. First thing we're gonna do is take a 10mm drill bit and open up this part here of the pump to fit a 10mm bolt. The next thing we're gonna do is drill and tap this part right here to run a 3/8 bolt. I'm sure it's a little sacrilegious to put a standard bit of hardware on a Japanese motor, but we don't really care. We're gonna tap this to a 3/8/16, and that's all we gotta do. We're also gonna go ahead and mount the pulley on this thing. We're able to reuse the stock Tacoma power steering pulley. The drive shaft is the same size on the aftermarket pump and the stock pump, but it doesn't go on all the way. It goes on about 95% of the way, you'd say. So what I like to do is I like to get this as close as I think it needs to be without going too much, and then I just make my final adjustments when it's in the car, and I can have the belt on it and look straight down it and make sure it's aligned. So let's go ahead and modify this thing so we can bolt it in. Just our little 3/8 guy. Just gotta line that up like this, and that's it. Pump's ready to be mounted. Now that we got the pump in, we're gonna be mounting the reservoir. What I do here is I just take the factory bracket and cut off this little ear that the stock reservoir goes into, and I make a little bracket here that bolts to these 4 guys, and I literally just stick this in the car, clock this where it needs to be, mark it, pull it out, weld it together, paint it, and bolt it in. Simple as that. Power steering cooler, last piece of the puzzle. Built these little L brackets Nice and simple, nothing fancy at all. And we like to mount this thing right here on the truck, so. Fit it like that, tack it, pull it off, weld it, paint it, and that's done. We've got the rear axle to plumb, got that started. We've got most of the power steering stuff back in, reservoir's in, pump is in, cooler's in. So it's time to build some lines, get this all plumbed up, get on the brakes, and be done. So the last piece of the puzzle to get this thing to drive is the brake system. On this we're going to be running a 2nd gen Tundra booster and a master cylinder from a 98 to 01 Dodge 2500. I know they make some kits out there for these, but those kits are to mount a GM master cylinder to this booster. This pattern's a little bit different, the spread's a little wider, so we're going to go ahead and just make our own brackets to make this work, our own adapters. Probably end up dropping a kit for that in the future, because I think these are 10 times better under the hood than those old cast iron ones. And the overall length is a little bit shorter, which allows you to leave your Tacoma fuse box in place. You still get all 3 bolts to keep it mounted, so it's kind of a no-brainer to run this over that other stuff. Day whatever. I don't know what day it is, but today's the day we're going to get this thing put together the rest of the way and on the ground. So I got the new pinion flange in. My buddy Tyler actually machined down the factory flange from this axle, turned it, built me a little hub-centric ring for it, put the Toyota flange pattern in it. We're going to bolt the stock driveline in it for now, because this thing's going to leave and go get painted, get a little bit of body work done. Then when it comes back, we'll get drivelines built. Obviously, we'll finish the truck then. So all that's really left today is to get the driveline in. We got to build a couple little brake lines on the back rear axle, and I think fire it up and see what it does. Bleed some brakes, bleed the steering, all that good stuff. So let's bang this thing out today. So the rear axle's plumbed. That is it for the brakes. We got the power steering plumbed, drive lines in with that new flange we talked about. This thing's ready to get the bed put on it, reservoir's mounted, brakes bled, and we're gonna get it out of here. Well, bittersweet ending to this one. Went to hook the battery up and the thing started smoking on me. So there's something electrical going on with it somewhere in there. I knew it was an electrical nightmare before I got into it. I knew I was gonna have to fix it eventually, but I thought I could get it started. Guess not. So yeah, stay tuned. Next video we'll have this thing running. You can see what's going on here. Toyota shouldn't have a front post battery in them. There's all kinds of ghetto shit going on in this thing. It's like a random distribution block down there. Catch can that's not hooked up. So we got some stuff to fix. Alright guys, that's it for today. We didn't get it running like we had hoped, but it is outside on its own weight. Looks awesome. It needs a ton more stuff, but for now this thing is taken off to get a little bit of body work done, some paint work, and then it'll be coming back to get finished. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, talk some shit in the comments. Let me know what you thought of today's video. If it was worse or better than last week's, maybe the same, who knows. See you guys next week. I lied. I had hooked up some of the battery cables wrong, since they're all just black battery cables, and I was just guessing. So yeah, got it fired up. Sitting here idling. Had just enough power steering fluid to top it off after it fired up. Obviously I can't take it on the road because not everything is tight. I'm gonna drive around the parking lot. That'll be satisfying. Brakes feel good for the most part. Woo! Oh yeah, plenty good. Steering's happy. Brakes work good. It's nice and loud because it's only got half an exhaust. It's a win, boys. That's a win. That's the end of our video. Thank you for watching.